So the task for actually today is to box up as many of these pieces that are ready to be sent out and finish blasting a couple pieces. And then, like I said, it'd be nice if we only had one project. It would be nice that we only had 2 projects, but we're actually throwing in a 3rd project today because we're a glutton for punishment. All right, well, hey, we're back here in our shop and we're going through our Buick parts that we have. We just got the information from our block and our heads and the condition we have over at Thoroughbees. Shizzle sticks. Shizzle sticks. There's a link to the video for all of our machine shop work right up here. The heads are garbage. I got a line on a different set of heads. And our block is usable, but I also have from the same guy, he thinks he's got a better block that we can use and not need to put sleeves in it. So anyhow, that's where we're at with that. The crankshaft, by the way, is also going to be usable, and we'll need to turn it is all. But here at the shop, I got lots of pieces and parts to go through and decide what condition everything else is in. Starter, I'm just going to get a different one. These should be readily available. This power steering pump, I'm not going to even try to find a rebuilt one. I am going to go through this and then maybe I'm stuck. Carburetor is not worth, I'm not very optimistic there. Water pump, obviously, get a new one. This alternator, I am going to pull apart and see if we can clean up, and if nothing else, we'll pull apart and show you what's inside. Camshaft is going to be new. This looks like brand new after cleaning it up. However, these nylon teeth, I'm surprised, are all here. It's an aluminum hub with the nylon, and the reason they did this was to quiet down the chain setup, which was actually pretty typical for GM in that days. And lots of times these are found down the oil pan. I'm going to replace with a good double roller. Our crankshaft pulley, you can see I got it sandblasted along with some other parts. This one's so pitted and bad that I'm going to find a replacement for this as well. I got, just in general cleaning standpoint, my process is the ones that are ridiculously gubby. I'm soaking and letting time do some work. I let them soak for a couple hours and it really softens up the grease and grime that's been baked on. I mean, you can see like this valve cover was coated in the inside and now it's clean. This is just some quick rust that's just from sitting on the floor. It'll go into the sandblast cabinet and be bead blasted, and I'll show you another one over there, but it'll be nice and clean. Do that with all the tin work that needs to be painted engine color, which comes over to here with the timing cover. It's aluminum, but it has a lot of the original paint on it. This is the code that the PPG book shows. It, in my opinion, is nowhere near what it needs to be. We need to have this color, which is more of a green than a blue. So I think I have enough surface here to take over and have actually Thoroughbee paint department scan this and color match it, at least as close as we can get, and we'll go from there with that. I'm not a fan of spray bombs if I can avoid them. If that's the only solution, it's the only solution. I got all the rocker shaft assembly out here. It's spread out. I got some concerns with the, some of the wear in that, and I need to talk to someone that's a little more familiar with this setup to see if that's even a concern. Overall, I don't have an issue with where the project's at. I'm not trying to do a numbers matching motor for a numbers matching car, so I have a lot more latitude with what I can use and can't use. So I don't care that the block is going to have a different number, and I don't care that the heads are going to have a different number. So we'll get those here, and then we'll resume a little more in depth with the Buick stuff. I need to blast up as many parts as I can and start cleaning stuff and start tearing stuff down. So that's where we're at with the Buick. Now, the beautiful scenario would be is that was all I had to do. So over here, we have our 1930, I'll call it 31, Hershey build sedan. And if you look right up here, right up here, our Model A build, if you remember, and if you don't, the link is right here. And if you watch here in a minute, Ben's gonna show you us doing some really cool donuts in the parking lot with it before we brought it into the shop to yank the engine because it is leaking oil really bad. In fact, if you watch, it'll be here in probably a minute, dripping oil. So again, everything's tore down. We've, it's a different animal. We have a very thin crankshaft. Obviously, it's only 4 pistons in rods, fairly long stroke. The really interesting, or the difference in like this to the Buick or any modern engine, is it does not use an insert bearing. So this bearing surface that's poured in here does not come out. You have to burn it out and pour in new. So we're gonna show you that when we get to the rebuild process. We have the distributor cap, these beefy main bearing caps. This is the rear and the center and the forward. And yeah, that's all that. And of course, these are poured in place as well. These grooves are placed in by hand after this is poured, and likewise with this chamfer. That is going to take someone that has done that. I have not, but I'm going to learn. Obviously, oil pan, which has already had some repairs to it with the brass up here. We're going to make sure that's not leaking, and it may require this being cut off and an actually new plug put on it. This is the original Tilton carburetor that was on that updraft. There are also some conversions out there where you flip it over and make it into a downdraft. We're going to kick some of those things around. I'm interested in understanding what is to be gained with going maybe to a downdraft carburetor, or certainly a different carburetor. We also have a high compression head that we purchased at the point where we built the Hershey Model A from Hershey, but there was some good concerns about the studs actually pulling out of the block. So we'll address those as well and get into the high compression head and take advantage of going from, I think these are like 5 to 1 to like a whopping 6 to 1. But improvement is improvement. So the task for actually today is to box up as many of these pieces that are ready to be sent out and finish blasting a couple pieces. And then, like I said, it'd be nice if we only had 1 project. It would be nice that we only had 2 projects, but we're actually throwing in a 3rd project today because we're a glutton for punishment.
Oily there, really, and here.
Hey, so here's our 1969 Camaro. This is an employee restoration we did about 5 years ago. It's seen a lot of wear and tear, and it is to the point where it is eating oil. My speculation going into this, because it's not dripping on the ground, it can come from 2 spots. It can come from bad rings, or it can come through the valve seals. And part of me wants to rebuild the motor, and part of me says, I hope it's not rebuild the motor. But we'll see. It is what it is.